Oh, what a day this has been. This is the vlog for July 12th, and I can't get this straight. Okay, that's better. There we go. It was very warm today. I'm pretty sure it got up around 90, if not over 90. And it was still, I think it's probably still above 70 degrees right now, and it's 10:40 at night. We of the greater Seattle area are not used to heat. It only gets this warm about 2 or 3 weeks in the summer. Yeah, it's 70 degrees right now. My room has a fan blowing the air out of the room in an attempt to bring cool air from the outside. But if the air outside is still 70 degrees, it's not going to be that cool. But probably still cooler than it already is. Thankfully, it is going to cool off tomorrow and Saturday, and then get warm again on Sunday and Monday. By cool off, I mean it's only going to be 83 on Saturday. The only cloud in the forecast is a partly cloudy Friday next week, a week from tomorrow. Ugh. Keep seeing falling stars on the background of my weather app. I don't know if they're going to show up in this. Of course, now that I'm holding it up here, I don't see anything. Oh. Oh, there's one. See? Okay, so what did I do today, aside from survive the heat? Well, surviving the heat was my first and foremost thought. I went for a walk. First thing, I went down to Marymoor this morning. Skipped walking last night just so I would have the energy to do it this morning, and I'm glad I did. Because when I got back, I was writing notes on my laptop, and I got a call from work, and they need me to come in for orientation tomorrow morning, and then I'll take a drug test probably on Saturday, and I'll start work on Monday. So this is the end of my 2 months of unemployment. It's not full 2 months. Well, it's getting pretty close, come to think of it. Anyway, when I wasn't excited to get back to working, I was working on Dungeons and Dragons. I spent all day basically working on Dungeons and Dragons. I should say I spent the first part of the day, most of the day, working on my notes, especially regarding character creation. Because this afternoon, I finally, with my friend Philip and two other folks that I know from work named Sebastian and Kelsey, we made their characters. What I didn't realize when I invited Sebastian and Kelsey was how little experience they have with Dungeons and Dragons overall. They've never played, to my knowledge. Or Kelsey might have played a little bit, but Sebastian is a complete newbie. Didn't really know what he wanted to do with his character. Kelsey had some ideas, but a lot of her ideas were basically just taking ideas from other games, which I should have been more okay with, with a little bit of tweaking to make them unique and make them her own. I still haven't gotten the hang of being a really good DM, but it was a wild ride. Philip, because he had such a long way to drive to get home, needed to finish his character or get as close to being finished as he could. So we sort of we got all his background stuff sorted out, made sure he had the right equipment, and then he's just going to fill in the rest of his sheet. I think he has a copy of the player's handbook somewhere. Kelsey and Sebastian did not, and it took a lot more time. Sebastian, I still wonder if he's really satisfied with his character, because he kind of wanted to play a warlock, not really knowing what one was, before Kelsey ended up picking warlock. Her warlock's going to be straight out of the Xanathar's Guide to Everything. It's going to be a Hexblade patron from the Shadowfell. I think I soloed on her when I described the Shadowfell as being the Upside Down from Stranger Things, which is funny because the Upside Down was clearly both inspired by the Shadowfell from Dungeons and Dragons, and the characters in the show described as being like the Shadowfell before the upside down name catches on. So a little bit of both art imitating life and life imitating art, or art imitating other art. Anyway, so Sebastian is going to be a fighter, but he's aiming towards Eldritch Knight as his fighter archetype. We already had a fighter in the group, but he seems to want a mix of sort of physical ability and magical ability. Philip ended up with a bard. I think he ended up with a human bard. He's a human bard. I think Kelsey's a human. Sebastian is a half elf, which leaves Lindsay's tiefling and Proby's orc. So pretty good party overall. Pretty balanced party with a lot of different options. No straight rogue, but I think the bard probably will supply most of what a rogue usually contributes to the party. But yeah, it's going to be interesting, especially having a couple people who have very little experience with this game. Sort of like keeping track of all that stuff. I haven't DM'd in ages, in at least a decade. But if I seem tired, it's because I got up this morning, took a walk, and then I've just spent all day working on a bunch of stuff that probably isn't even going to get a lot of use. Although Kelsey picked my guide background, I was really happy about that. And then sort of dismayed when looking more closely at the Outlander chart for what your speciality is as an Outlander. Guide is one of them. And I've made an entire background out of one option on the Outlander chart. Well, whoops. Anyway, I'm really tired and I need to get to bed because it's 11 o'clock and I've got to get up early tomorrow. Well, I don't have to get up early, but since the construction guys start banging away at 8 o'clock at the latest, they've been showing up at 7:30. Which I've slept in till a couple of times on this break. I need to get my rest. It's very warm. I'm going to have a little bit of trouble going to sleep, but I've hit 5 minutes and I am ready to hit the hay. So, on that note, I'm Eric Spornitz, and tomorrow will be better.